Hello everyone and welcome to What's Your Story from the OCC. Today I'm talking with Emma Smith from ES HR Consultancy. Morning, Emma.
Morning, James.
Morning. Please tell me a little bit about what you do. Now I know you've got a tagline which is the horsey HR lady. Can you also tell me where that came from?
So I am an independent HR consultant and I help micro and small businesses. The tagline comes in because I own a horse and one of my target markets is equestrian employers. So I understand that their cash is tied up in buildings and in the animals themselves and the infrastructure, and they have huge feed bills and vet bills and all sorts of bills. So I want to go in and help make their lives much, much easier from an employment law perspective, whereas they don't have big bills and they don't put themselves at risk of a tribunal.
Right. Okay. So in your with your HR hat on, do you provide a full service HR solution, outsourced solution, or do you just go in and troubleshoot, or are you just there for the first employee that somebody hires?
I can do all of the above. I prefer to work with my clients on a retained basis. So they have me for a certain amount of time every week or every month. I bespoke that to each of my clients. So no two clients will be on the same package. But also if somebody just wants me to go in and do a project, so say recruit that first employee, I'll go in and do that with them. And then it's up to them. So I've got some clients that do that and I'm just basically there to support their recruitment, and I've got others that are on a full outsourced HR department. So for example, this morning I've had a call from one client and they've had somebody resign over the weekend and somebody else has had a mortgage request come in, and can I deal with those? And that is part of my service, so I will.
Right. Okay. So you're offering everything from that first employee through to that troubleshooting problem where they might have a difficult situation that they need some HR support with to maybe put somebody at risk or to manage them out of the business.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you find with the equestrian businesses that you're working with that actually they're a bit more challenged around understanding the need for an HR person within their organization or their business to help keep it running smoothly?
Yeah, they don't see the benefit in having somebody like me on a retained basis. So the equestrian businesses will often have me in literally just to firefight for them to deal with an issue. But that doesn't stop me contacting them with my regular newsletters. So there's one scheduled to go out shortly that will tell everybody the minimum wage increases, any changes in employment law on the 6th of April. And it'll make some offers in there of, I'll review your contract for X amount of money and adjust it accordingly.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of thing. Equestrian employers have got a lot of options. So I am up against a competitor that charges them £50 a year. And they get access to a whole raft of resources as part of that for free of charge. But from talking to that competitor, my equestrian employers will sign up 1 month and then cancel it 2 months later because they don't think they need it. And it's working with them, and the fact that I can go and have a meeting with them when we're allowed, and I will go and stand and empty a wheelbarrow with them. I will hold their hay nets while they're filling them up, because time is important to them. And if they've got 20-30 stables to muck out in a day, they don't want to spend an hour chatting to me in an office. Let's do it while we're mucking out.
Yeah. So do you find there are obviously lots of organizations that membership organizations where there are HR functions that you can use, but they're very they're probably a one hat fits all kind of solution. So do you find that doesn't necessarily translate across into your world?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And one of the reasons that I encourage people to chat with a few independent consultants is to find the consultant that you can work with. I've got a client that is with one of those national brands at the moment, and I had a conversation with them last week, and I've got to demo some software with them this week, and they are saying to me that the one size fits all. It depends on who they talk to, and they can talk to two different people and get two completely different answers on the same issue. Whereas with me, you get one answer, this is the way forward, come back to me with any additional information. And it's building that trust and that relationship, and that's where I really retain my clients against some of the big names in the market.
Yeah. And also, because you're building that relationship, actually the long-term benefit is that you get to understand their business, and you then ultimately get to save them some of the headache that might come from having a difficult employee, but also the financial consequences of that as well.
Yeah, if I can nip it in the bud, if I can find that difficult employee early, I can often turn them around rather than come in at the end of a journey and have to pay them off to get rid of them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you've already mentioned that you, in the comments there, that you were talking about a client with some software that you were introducing them to. So obviously that's what it suggests to me, rather, that you collaborate with other businesses and other service providers to deliver your solution. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I've got a couple of partnerships. So I have a software provider called Breathe HR, which is an information system, with Improve Online, which is an online learning system, with Hireful, which is an applicant tracking system. And the beauty of those three is that they all talk to each other. So the data literally flows from Hireful to Breathe to Improve. So it's really good. I've also partnered with a psychometric provider called Podium. So if any of my businesses want to use numerical, verbal, personality profiling, skills testing, I can do all of that because I'm qualified in that as well. But also I am a partner with a company called HCM Metrics, and they are the UK registrar for the ISO 3414 human capital reporting standard. So I'm doing a fair bit of work at the minute in terms of educating businesses around what 3414 is. It's pretty much 9001 for an HR professional. So we come in and we look at some standard statistics from an HR perspective. So FTE, headcount, turnover rates, training. But then we start to look at employee engagement, span of control, trust in the leadership, and we're looking at quantitative and qualitative data. And the end goal is to really form HR as a professional body, like the finance director would be on the board. So we want the HR director to be sat there and to be talking the same language as the rest of the board. So, you know, for the first time ever, you can calculate a return on investment for HR as part of the standard. And I think that's really key. And 2021 is going to be the year where we get the first UK organisation signed up to the audit process, and that's going to be very exciting.
Okay, so are you able to audit as well as introduce to part of the ISO?
Yeah, so I can refer companies into HCM Metrics. I'm also a certified auditor as of September last year. And I'm also, if I don't go in, so if I refer a business, I don't become an auditor, but I could go in between the first and the second audits and help them gain the certification at the second going.
Cool, good. So you've actually got quite a lot of products and solutions in your arsenal to give your clients a really good, rounded solution. Really, yeah.
And
good.
Even my small businesses, I've got them all on a path to gain the 3414 standard, but maybe when they've grown a little bit themselves, it's not right for them now, but it's there in my toolbox that I can get them to work towards it.
Yeah. So I know we at the beginning of this conversation, we talked quite a lot around your rural and equine type businesses that you're focusing on. So do you have any other client sectors that you specialize in, or that kind of get you out of bed in the morning?
So I've got two fabulous new clients. One is a company that does the streaming for funerals, and obviously in the current situation, it helps loved ones say goodbye when they can't actually be there. And I was the beneficiary of that back in December when we buried one of my relatives, and it was really good to be able to see that. I'm just onboarding an engineering client, and I've spent a fair amount of my corporate career working with engineers, so they're quite easy to work with for me. I know how they think, I know how they act. They're very black and white, but they can also be quite pedantic, so I'm quite used to skirting around the edges and planting seeds to get them to think in the right way. But yeah, I've got everything from kind of the rural and the equine. So I've got a farm on my books, I've got a landscaping company on my books, I've got tool repairs, I've even got a vet. So I do cover the whole area.
Yeah, so it's quite, even though it's rural and equine, a lot of that, it's a very broad sector, actually, surprisingly, because there's so much diversity in that sector as well.
Yeah, but that's HR has very transferable skills, and I've worked across so many sectors in my corporate career. So my corporate career spanned almost 20 years. And so I learned a lot that I can now bring to consulting as an independent. So it's good fun.
So there's a really key question in that, which is obviously you were an HR professional in the corporate world. What inspired you to make that transition to become a small business owner in Coventry, really?
So some of it was circumstances. The company I was working with, my director, was not a fan of my close working relationships with the IT director and the finance director, because they were reporting to the MD, and my boss, having the same information, wasn't sharing that. But I kind of took stock, and I was like, I don't want to go back to corporate. I don't want to play office politics. I want to go out and use my experience to help the smaller businesses, because almost 20 years in corporate gives you a lot of skills and experience, and you can go in and, you know, for example, I helped one business last year with just some basic admin to bring their business back up to scratch, having had some financial issues where the accounting and the bookkeeping had been done rather badly. But it meant, because I'm a Xero certified advisor as well, it meant I could go in, and thankfully they use Xero, so I could go in and help and train up the new members of the team so that it doesn't ever happen again.
Cool, brilliant, thank you for that. So I know you're based in Coventry. So are your clients, do you look at your client space as being a local or regional or national? What's your preferred solution in that respect?
Ideally, I'd like them to be local, but my latest two clients are national.
Okay.
So I've got clients up in Sheffield, and I've got clients all the way down into Oxfordshire and Banbury at the moment. But with remote working, it means I can work anywhere, and I can video call, and when we're allowed back out, I will go and visit my clients if they need me to.
Okay, cool. So do you feel with obviously the stuff that's gone on in 2020, and now that we're all so comfortable and familiar in the Zoom space, do you now find, do you think throughout 2021, as your business grows, you will continue to use Zoom and video conferencing to support your clients?
I will, but now I also think that there are some occasions when going in and being face to face is the better option. And I will always have that conversation with the client to say, this would be better face to face, but we can do it virtually. And I will be led by them. My two new clients that have come on board recently are very much people led. They want to do the right thing by their employees. So I can imagine I will be doing a lot of on-site work with them moving forwards.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there are some conversations that are much better to be had face to face, but there are other conversations that work really well on in the social work, in the virtual world, that actually you don't need to be physically there to have that conversation. Yeah.
And it's working with each of the managers in the businesses that I work with to make the right decision for the manager and for the business and for the employee. And I do think about all three. I'm not just kind of working for the business. I want to make sure the employees are happy too.
Yeah, good, excellent. So 2021 is going to be a really exciting year for everybody. How do you see it panning out for ES HR Consultancy and Emma Smith?
It's already panning out really well. I have onboarded one large client, and I'm in conversations with a second to bring them on board, and I've got some meetings this week to literally bring that deal home. So there will be a lot of work for me to do with both of those businesses. I'm already into the startup project for the one I've brought on board, but they're also into their retained work. So I do a day a week for them. And it is literally getting out there. It's shouting about the ISO standard and saying it's here and having conversations. The way my business forecasting is going is that at some point this year I'm going to have to become VAT registered. So as a small business, that's actually quite exciting and terrifying all at the same time, because it means that actually I'm probably going to make a profit for my second year as a limited company. So
well done. Congratulations.
It's exciting, and so I'm looking forward to the rest of the year.
Yeah, brilliant. So obviously with all the tools you have in your toolbox, I like that phrase. Do you collaborate and partner with other HR providers, or are they your competitors and you don't talk to them at all?
No, I will very much work on a collaboration basis. So I know quite a few local HR consultants. One of them has referred work to me. So when she's gone on holiday for 4 or 5 weeks, I've covered some of her clients for that period for her. Others, you know, we bounce ideas off each other if we're kind of having a my brain isn't functioning type moment, and we'll pick the phone up and we'll have a chat and go, what do you think about this? So it very much is collaboration and not competition.
Okay, cool. So that brings me nicely round to the OCC, because we're obviously a collaborative space and we're very much about building dream teams. So I would like to know how you feel the OCC benefits you as a small business owner.
So it benefits me because it gives me time, either virtually or actual when we're allowed to meet again. It gives me dedicated time where I've got people that are watching me, so that I am held accountable for getting things done. I have routinely a list of a to-do list, but I'll get distracted and I'll go off on a tangent and do something else. And I do need sometimes just those few hours or the day where I say, this is what I'm going to achieve today. And then we're held accountable at kind of at lunchtime and at the end of the day. And I do find I get much more work done then.
Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, part of our ethos when we meet, whether that's virtually or face to face, is on our co-working days, is the accountability element. That's really important for us. So actually, you know, it feels like it's you know, you're coming out, you're taking time out of your business to be part of the OCC, but actually we want you to achieve stuff. So the accountability for us is a really key element. So that's great. Brilliant. So that was my last question, Emma, really. So thank you so much for coming online today and for sharing insights into your business and who you are. And that, you know, welcome to the OCC, be part of the OCC.
Thank you. It's fabulous. It's a fabulous group of members, and I can't wait for our next meeting.
Good. Brilliant. Thank you, Emma.
Thanks, James.